It's a Saturday morning, not a special one. No milestone circled on the calendar. Just another quiet weekend. Daniel's sitting at his kitchen table doing something he's done for the past 15 years. He opens his banking app, scrolls, finds the number. $2,184. Mortgage payment. Same account. Same date. Same number. He hits confirm. And then something happens that has never happened before. A notification appears. Loan closed. Balance $0. He pauses. Not for long. Just a second. Maybe two. He was expecting something. Relief. Excitement. A shift. Something that feels like the end of a 15-year journey. But nothing comes. The coffee is still warm. The room is still quiet. The world outside moves exactly the same. Saturday looks like Saturday. And that's it. And then about 2 days later, something changes. Not loudly, not all at once, but something rearranges itself. Internally, it's subtle. You don't notice it immediately, but once you do, you realize everything is different. Today, we're not talking about the numbers. Those are simple. We're talking about what actually changes after the mortgage disappears. Because most people spend 15 to 20 years working toward that moment without ever being told what happens next. Let's start with something most people avoid. The real cost. The average mortgage payment sits around $2,300 a month. On a $300,000 home at 7%. You don't just pay $300,000. You pay closer to $700,000 total. More than double. The bank makes more from your house than you do. That's not criticism. It's just the structure, because most people never calculate this. They only see the monthly payment, not the full picture. So when that payment is gone, you don't just gain $2,000 a month. You lose something else, something harder to measure. You lose the weight. And here's the strange part. When you carry weight long enough, it stops feeling like weight. It just feels like you. So when it disappears, it feels unfamiliar, almost empty. People expect relief, and it comes, but quietly. Not the dramatic moment they imagined for 15 years. What changes immediately? Your monthly obligations drop. That $2,000 plus payment, gone. Your financial floor just moved down. And that number, your floor, is more important than your income. Because a lower floor equals more options. A bad month becomes manageable. A slow business cycle becomes survivable. A job you hate becomes optional. What doesn't change? Your habits, your lifestyle, your mindset. And that's where most people get it wrong. Paying off your house does not make you wealthy. It removes the biggest obstacle to becoming wealthy. Those are not the same thing, and this is where two people take completely different paths. Let's slow this down. $2,200 a month equals $26,400 a year. If that money gets redirected, not spent, into investments at a modest 7% return, over 15 years, that becomes roughly $650,000 plus from one change, not from working more, not from starting a business, just from redirecting a payment. That's the opportunity. And almost nobody takes it because the moment the payment disappears, life expands. The kitchen upgrade, the new car, the delayed vacation, all valid, all competing for the same money. And here's the rule. Spending always rises to meet available space. If you don't decide where the money goes, it will disappear quietly. This is where it gets interesting. When the mortgage exists, your job isn't just a job, it's a requirement. Income to payment to shelter. That chain controls you. even if no one says it. You feel it on Sunday nights, in meetings, in moments where you want to speak, but don't. When the mortgage disappears, that chain breaks. Not completely, but enough. Now the question changes from, can I afford to leave? To, do I actually want to stay? That's a dangerous question. Because now you're answering honestly. Here's the uncomfortable truth. A paid-off house can still leave you financially fragile. You can own a $500,000 home and still struggle with a $20,000 emergency because the house isn't liquid. It doesn't pay bills. It doesn't handle emergencies. It just sits there, valuable, but silent. This is where people get stuck. They treat payoff as the finish line instead of a transition point. They slow down, relax, and 2 years later, they're asset rich, but cash poor. This is the part you can't measure. Debt has a presence. It sits behind every decision, quietly, influencing what you do and what you don't do, the risks you avoid, the ideas you delay. When it disappears, something changes. Decisions feel lighter. Opportunities feel possible. The question becomes, what do I want to build? Not, what can I afford? Here's how this goes wrong. The house is paid off. Spending increases. Lifestyle expands. 5 years later, different situation. Same pressure, same stress, same dependency on income. No one talks about this version because it's not dramatic, but it's common, and it happens to disciplined people, which makes it dangerous. The people who get this right do something simple. They redirect the payment immediately. They build liquid assets. They create income beyond their job. They keep their lifestyle stable. From the outside, it looks boring, nothing flashy, but internally, everything changes. They sleep better. They choose more. They depend less. The house didn't make them wealthy. It gave them a foundation. What they built after that, that's the wealth. Paying off the mortgage is not the finish line. It's the first morning you finally realize you were never chasing the house. You were chasing what life looks like without the weight. And now, for the first time, you get to decide what comes next. If this video made you look at your mortgage differently, subscribe to Last Receipt. See you in the next video.